I have Martin Dell, the founder of property portal Kyero.
Hey there, how you doing?
The reason I asked to speak to you was I've noticed that this last week you've completely rebranded Kyero. Slam in the middle of a European lockdown. What's the rebrand all about?
So I think it's worth noting that the rebrand process started a couple of years ago. We decided to bring it to fruition now despite the pandemic. And it was really to put us in the best possible position for when the market recovers for 2021. We obviously don't know when that's going to happen in 2021, but we wanted to be ready and all guns blazing when the market recovers. So it was a tricky decision. It's a massive investment to undertake a rebrand project, but having already invested a year's worth of work in thinking about the rebrand and organizing the company's assets behind that rebrand, it kind of made sense to push forward with it and launch anyway. So we're not, what's visible at the moment isn't the full experience. It's the first step of our new platform to allow us to build on and go in the direction that we're intending to go.
And from a practical point of view, other than the visual aspect and the design, have there been any major changes in terms of what the buyer will experience when they visit?
Right now, it's really just a kind of carpets and curtains. It's the look and feel. So the visitor experience is almost entirely the same. One of the reasons we decided to go through a rebrand in the first place is a couple of years ago we went through a process with the whole team to try and figure out the mission of Kyero and what we as individuals bring to the business, and as a collection of individuals what we bring to our clients, estate agents and buyers. And that actually happened at the end of 2018. That's when this entire rebrand process kicked off. And out of that weekend, we came away with our new tagline, our new mission, which is we help people find their sunshine. Now, because we've actually got three different sets of clients, we've got estate agents, clearly, which pay us advertising fees. They're our primary revenue generator. But we've also got buyers that are bringing money to the transaction. So we've got them as clients. And we also have our internal team as a set of clients. And this helping people find their sunshine view of things helped us go, okay, what does that mean to an agent? What's their sunshine? It's probably a consistent stream of qualified leads that are going to convert to sales. For buyers, the sunshine often is quite literally sunshine. They're coming from a colder part of Northern Europe, probably, and they're looking for somewhere to winter or have a holiday home. And for our team internally, the sunshine, obviously it differs from person to person, but the one really strong attribute that we all share is this drive for excellence and customer service. So we want to be connecting buyers. We want to be connecting them with estate agents so that they can each find their sunshine. And actually that produces the endorphins that we crave, that kind of excellence. We felt that the old look and feel of the site didn't give us the right emotion and canvas to paint those stories on. And now what you can see is essentially the blank canvas that will allow us to communicate those stories and those aspirations over time.
This kind of coincides a little bit. You've also completely shifted your pricing policy in the portal.
Right. So this is another one that's been in the wings for a long time. And there are three drivers, the third driver being the pandemic, but so that was the timing aspect. But so for the last couple of years, we've been on an expansion plan to other countries. So we obviously started in Spain in 2003. A little over 2 years ago, we established a presence in Portugal, a bit later France, and now we're starting off in Italy. And when you enter a new market, you actually can't show up and say, hey, we're new here, we're not generating any leads, but we've got a great reputation in Spain, why don't you give us money? the proposition just doesn't work. And no sane agent is going to pay a portal like that that's new to the market any money hoping it's going to work, because it probably won't. So we had to enter those new territories with a free to list model. And obviously the way that works is most of the investment that we make in the portal year in, year out is in technology and getting organic traffic from Google and maximizing our email subscriber list. So it's the vast majority of the money we spend is on maximizing the organic reach. We can't get that organic reach unless we have listings and content. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg. So really the only way for us to get listings is to offer free listings. And that works superbly in Portugal particularly. It's working better now in France and Italy. So the model for entering a new territory was quite clearly for us: offer free listings, wait until we add value, then go back to agents and say, hey, this is what you're going to get for free, but you can get a lot more predictability, a lot more consistency, a lot more quality of leads if you pay to promote your listings to the top positions. So that's working fantastically in Portugal. We always intended to bring that model to Spain. We're a small company, we're only 30 odd people. It's really amazing to me how complex the internal systems are to support a single business model. When you've got multiple different models and different models in different countries, it just magnifies the complexity of the business. So it was always our intention to bring this model to Spain. Let me talk a bit more about that. One of the challenges of the previous model is that the market is seasonal. So the real estate market is seasonal, particularly for international buyers. So your estate agents, the people watching this video know that kind of not much happens over the summer. Business kind of tails off towards Christmas, picks up again in Q1. There's this mad frenzy in Q1, possibly a mad frenzy in Q3, but other than that, it's pretty lumpy. And what that means to an estate agent's cash flow is that it's quite hard to predict, and particularly when the sales cycle for international buyer is maybe a couple of years, could even be longer. Well, the people on our podcast are talking about, yeah, we started thinking about this 10 years ago, and then we had a holiday, and then we thought about it some more, and then we looked around France, and that didn't work. And, 10 years later, they end up buying a place in Spain. I don't think there's a business on the planet that can go, do you know what, I'll invest in that lead in 2010, and I'll plan my business based on and that turning to revenue for me in 2020. It just doesn't happen. So what that means is an estate agent's willingness and ability to invest in advertising is driven by cash flow and seasonality. And what that means for a portal like Kyero is our listing volume goes up and down with that seasonality and with those fluctuations in cash flow. And when that happens, we can't service the visitors who are visiting portal because they just see a subset of what's available on the market. And I think the prime proposition of any portal is visit us because we've got all of the agents and all of the properties. Now, if that's not true, and if it's not consistently true, it's really difficult for visitors to rely on that portal as their source of market information. So we got those two things. We got the fact that the old model was lumpy in terms of revenue and listing volume, and we had the desire to harmonize our business models across countries. So fast forward to February 2020 this year. February was our best month ever in terms of revenue, biggest number of agents, biggest number of listings, largest amount of revenue. And then that turned to 0 in March. So it was really clear to us, because of the pandemic, that the only sensible choice for agents was to stop paying us or to massively rationalize their advertising choices and advertising spend. And we could see that what that was going to do was reduce our listing inventory to a point where maybe we weren't attracting buyers anymore. And then we get into that vicious cycle of, okay, you've got no visitors and no buyers. So there's even less reason for the agents who are choosing to pay to continue to pay. So we didn't want to go down that vicious cycle. So we brought forward implementing the free to list model in Spain to prevent that happening. And it was, we were biting our nails a bit to wonder how that was going to pan out. But it's actually been really successful. I think largely agents have recognized that this was really useful to them at this time. And for us, it was useful in maintaining the listing volume. And also, we were already disrupted by the pandemic as a business. We figured we might as well throw all the disruption in and eat it all in one go. And it's worked out really well. So this model now, this free to list, pay to promote, is the model that we'll use going forward in all of our territories.
So an agent can list all their properties at no cost on Kyero, and at the expense of lower visibility. If they wanted to produce more leads, they would then choose however many of those listings that they want to upgrade to, I think you call it Prime, Kyero Prime.
Yeah.
And so
yeah,
it's
that's
like
right.
a choice. They have a choice of however many or how little that they do. And if they're going through their seasonal fluctuation with cash flow, etc., like you just mentioned, they can choose to have nothing on Prime if that's what they want, or they can have everything on Prime. So it just gives them a little bit more control over where they're spending the money without taking the listings out of the system. Does that sound about right?
That's it. That's entirely right. You've got it. So really, from an agent's point of view, it gives them control and flexibility. If they've got cash they want to invest, that's great. They can do that. And what we're working on now is to make sure that agents that pay get the priority response. It's not to say the free listings won't get any response. If you're the only agent listing with us in Galicia, you'll get all of the response because there's no other agent to send those leads to. So we're not limiting the exposure of the free listings at all. We're just prioritizing the paid ones. So yeah, the whole idea is that an agent can choose their level of visibility and choose their investment and choose their response rate. So if you're, as an agent, if you're having a storming year and you actually can't cope with any more leads coming in, and that happens quite a lot, why would you pay for stuff that you can't process? So rather than us seeing that agent disappear and take their listings with them, we go, listen, why don't you advertise for free, stay visible, have some visibility, keep your marketing ticking over in the background at zero cost. And when you need more leads, just the act of paying will ramp that up instantly.
And they save the delay process between signing up, uploading, getting their feed sorted, and all that delay between deciding to list with the portal and actually having all your listings on the portal. If they're already on there, I suppose once they've upgraded and they pay, it's an instant thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was certainly a win-win for the agent and for us internally. We had this massive labor overhead of offboarding an agent that no longer wants to pay and then onboarding them again when they decide to pay again. And we realized that our old model of paid only was causing that friction. So we really went back to basics and said, what's a model where that friction goes away? We actually recognize that an agent's business is cyclical. And how do we build a model around acknowledging that that's the fact and also making it worthwhile for an agent to pay when they want to, but not really punishing them for when they either can't or don't want to pay.
Any last thoughts on 2021? Are we going to see in terms of Spanish property? Are we going to see a nice rebound from all this pent up, or?
Yeah, I think so. We are anticipating a rebound at some point. Almost impossible to predict when that will be. It'll come down to vaccinations, more about market confidence than anything else, I think. So we're reasonably bullish it'll happen sometime next year. We're putting our money on the second half of the year, just to be slightly cautious. But I think the other trend that we're seeing is this sort of digital nomad, and it's not just young people that fall into that category. What's happened around the world is that people have realized they can work remotely. And for a lot of businesses, a lot of their people can work remotely most, if not all of the time. And speaking with people who have been working remotely in cold England, they're thinking, now that I can work remotely, I actually can work from anywhere. And why don't I work from somewhere sunny? So I think we're going to see a lot of that next year. I don't think those people are going to be buying initially. So I expect to see a resurgence of the long-term, mid-term rental market. And I think it's going to be outside of the cities. So I think people are going to go somewhere on the coast or the islands. I think those are going to be the popular destinations. And I think they're going to be looking for a 3 to 6 month rent to test drive an area and see if they like the lifestyle. And then I think agents are going to be able to convert those rental customers into buyers, because the cost of living in most of Spain is so much cheaper than anywhere in Northern Europe.